So today we're going to be doing collocations. Yay! But we're talking about irrational fears, sleeping habits, and arguing with someone close to you. So a personal conflict. Okay, so let me bring up the notes on screen here for you. Here we go. So I've written these sentences, these paragraphs for you. You're just going to listen initially. Now I've underlined the preposition phrases, the collocations. So these are always words that work together, prepositions that generally belong with these verbs or adjectives. Okay, so try to remember these pairings, and then you'll have a chance to use them yourself. There is a reference sheet that's available as well for you to use while writing with collocations. So here we go. Have you ever heard of a person with an irrational fear of tea bags? Well, now you have. Wet tea bags used to make me feel physically sick. Fortunately, I'm no longer afraid of those little leafy pockets, a result of working as a tea lady in a law firm for a short period of time, responsible for making huge urns of tea all day long. I actually consider myself to be a very rational person, but if I think about it hard enough, there are definitely other irrational fears that I suffer from. Do you suffer from any irrational fears? Tell me the strangest thing you are afraid of. Okay, so I'm going to read that one more time. Feel free to read along. And wow, can you hear that? Yes, we have a thunderstorm coming over as we speak. Hopefully it won't affect my connection. Okay, here we go. Read along. Have you ever heard of a person with an irrational fear of tea bags? Well, now you have. Wet tea bags used to make me feel physically sick. Fortunately, I am no longer afraid of those little leafy pockets, a result of working as a tea lady in a law firm for a short period of time, responsible for making huge urns of tea all day long. I actually consider myself to be a very rational person. But if I think about it hard enough, there are definitely other irrational fears that I suffer from. Do you suffer from any irrational fears? Tell me the strangest thing you are afraid of. Okay, good. So, do you suffer from an irrational fear? This is actually true. This is a true story. I wrote this based on myself. I am afraid, or I was afraid. Let me shut the window. I was afraid of wet tea bags. And I think it came from a bad dream. I won't share the details of the dream because I don't want to give anyone else an irrational fear of wet tea bags, but it did leave me. It scarred me. It was a terrible dream and it made me feel very unwell every time I looked at or came close to a wet tea bag. And it's true, I did work for a short time in a law firm as a tea lady. And I was responsible for making these huge urns of tea where I had to empty them and pick up handfuls of wet tea bags to put into the bin. And I had to deal with it. I had to get over my fear. So you can see from the text that I've underlined the collocations. So heard of. Have you ever heard of? I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of me? Have you heard of this company before? So this is very common. Used to meaning something that you did in the past regularly. So tea bags used to regularly in the past make me feel physically sick. To be afraid of. We always see these together. I'm afraid of hurting myself at gymnastics. That will stop me from doing a big trick that I haven't done in a while because I'm afraid of hurting myself. I can see from the comments here, Suresh is afraid of frogs. Sam has an irrational fear of rats. Good. Let me just see if there's any others I can bring up here. Have I made a mistake? No. So in the text, I thought this might bring up a question. I wrote here, I'm no longer afraid of those little leafy pockets. That's me just writing in a creative way. So a tea bag is a pocket, isn't it? It's a pocket, something that holds something. It holds tea leaves. So the leaves of the tea plant all chopped up into little pieces. And so I creatively put together this phrase, these little leafy pockets. Okay. So that's what that means, in case anyone else was confused. I was just being very creative in my writing. Yes, so literally a bag for tea. Perfect. Oh, hang on. This one. I have an irrational fear of to lose my memory and waste my life. So Zara, what we do here is say, I have an irrational fear of losing. So you'd go into the ing ending. I have an irrational fear of losing my memory and wasting my life. Okay. I don't think that's an irrational fear, personally. I am afraid of that too. I'm afraid of declining in my cognitive abilities, losing my mind. It's an awful way. It's an awful way to see out the end of your days. And yes, wasting your life. Unfortunately, my grandfather, who was very active and always incredibly physically fit, he became quite unwell with a number of illnesses that meant he became trapped in his body. His mind was fine, but his body wasn't. And he spent the last 10 years of his life stuck in a nursing home, unable to do anything. And it's awful to waste the days that you have. I hope this rain is not too noisy. I fear it might be. Anyway, let's carry on. Despite the rain, let's push through. Okay, so used to, afraid of, responsible for. I am responsible for many things. I'm responsible for 2 children. It's my biggest responsibility. Oh my goodness, I hope this rain is not too loud. It's very loud in here. Here's an interesting one. I used to, good collocation, I used to be scared of curtains. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I shouldn't laugh. The bottom corner of the hem can look like a mouth or eye. It's very interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. It's amazing what frightens us. Here's a common one. I'm afraid of giving speech in front of class. I'm afraid of giving a speech in front of class, or in front of a class, or the class, if you're talking about a specific class that we're aware of. Okay, Manuel. If you don't want to lose your memory, so a T on the end of don't, and your, not you, your memory, you can learn languages. You can learn language your whole lifetime. How would you word that? I'd say you can spend your life learning languages. It makes your brain powerful. You can spend your life learning languages. It makes your brain powerful. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. People saying they can't hear the rain. Good. Hopefully long will that continue. It will just be me having to deal with the rain. Okay. So I'm responsible for making the breakfast. I'm responsible for my 2 children. I'm responsible for looking after my ELAN students and making sure these live streams go ahead every week, as I promise in the student newsletter. What are you responsible for? Tell me in the comments. I'm responsible for my own failure and success, as I think existentialism is a reality. Wow, fantastic. Yes, and that's absolutely true. We're all responsible for ourselves. And obviously, luck and life can deal us a bad hand. Sometimes things happen that are outside of our control, but we are completely in control of how we react to and deal with. There's two more: react to, deal with those situations. And very successful people are people who try to absorb negative impacts, negative changes, and find the positive spin. I try to be like that. If something bad happens, I try to just take it on board, learn from it, and turn it into a positive, because nothing good comes from wallowing. To wallow in self-pity. That's a common phrase that we use, to wallow in self-pity. To wallow, pigs wallow in mud. It's to kind of roll around and lie in something, to wallow. When we say to wallow in self-pity is to sit down and do nothing but feel sorry for yourself. I didn't get the result I wanted to get. Oh, I'm so rubbish. Oh, and I studied so hard, but it didn't work out. Oh, I'm going to give up. Oh, that's wallowing in self-pity. Instead of saying, I didn't do very well this time. Okay, what do I need to do differently? Maybe I can speak to my teacher and find out what I can change. I'm going to use this to motivate me to work harder or to work differently in order to achieve my goal. Maybe I should try something different altogether. So yeah, don't wallow in self-pity. I am responsible for taking my own goods and bad. Okay, I'm not quite. So goods, when you're talking about goods as a noun, we're talking about products. So a shopkeeper has lots of goods in their shop. I think you're talking about the good things and the bad things in life. I'm not sure, but I think that's what you're talking about. But the way you've worded it is making it seem like you're talking about products. So be careful with that one. Same situation here. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Nishanta. I've obviously gone a little further on. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I am responsible for peace of my mind and my happiness. Change the word order. I am responsible for my peace of mind. Peace of mind is a phrase that belongs. You don't separate it. Peace of mind. My peace of mind, your peace of mind, for everybody's peace of mind. It's a solid phrase. You can't separate it. So don't do that. My peace of mind is what I am responsible for. My peace of mind and my happiness. Manuel, I am responsible for all my spelling mistakes. It is my own responsibility. Yes, that's right. We are all responsible for our own mistakes, and it's good to own your mistakes. So it's good to make mistakes because we learn from them. You have to own those mistakes. Okay, what else did we have beyond responsible for? We had think about. Think about. What do you often think about? What are you thinking about right now? What do you think about the current climate change situation? What do you think about the crazy weather? So think about is very commonly used. If somebody asks you if you could do something, but you're not sure, then you might tell them, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Give me some time. Let me think about it, and I will come back to you. You might approach somebody with an idea saying, I've been thinking about a new way of doing this task. I've been thinking a lot about what you said last week. I was thinking about perhaps applying for a new job. So think about. What do we have here? How many YouTube channels do you have? Well, I was thinking about starting a new one. I have a lot. Too many. Far too many. Okay. I think about tomorrow. I want to buy iPad Pro. So the way you'd word this is, because what you'd normally say here, you normally would in that sentence take away about and say, I think tomorrow, or tomorrow, I think I want to buy an iPad Pro tomorrow. That's the most natural way of putting that sentence. I think I want to buy an iPad Pro tomorrow. But that's more certain. That's almost like you've made that decision. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do that. You would use that when you're more certain about a decision. If you are considering, you're still considering, much more in the considering stage. I'm thinking about, I am thinking, ing, I'm thinking about buying an iPad Pro tomorrow. What do you think about that? Does that help? Hopefully. Okay. Oh gosh, lots of comments coming through. And no students in the live chat room. But Niall's in the chat room. Hi, Niall. Do feel free to share your thoughts and questions. I think about joining yoga classes tomorrow. So again, we wouldn't use it in this way. If you're going to use it that way, you'd have to do ing. I'm thinking about joining a yoga class tomorrow. So it's a little bit more definite. I'm thinking about doing that. Or I was thinking about joining a yoga class tomorrow. Do you want to join me? That's a more indirect way of doing it. Hi, Niall. You're saying hello. I'm thinking about how to pass my practical test. Great. Fantastic. I am thinking about how to letting objects or humans going to the moon. Okay, there's a bit of rewording that needs to happen here. I'm thinking about how. I don't know why you've got letting. I don't know why you're using that word there. I'm thinking about how objects or humans get to the moon. I'm thinking about how objects or humans get to the moon. Maybe you're trying to figure out physically how that happens. I'm thinking about monetization of my YouTube channel. Fantastic. Well, I hope it's going well, and hopefully you'll get there very soon. And that's a good sentence. I think about. Okay. I think I need a haircut. So you might say, I think I need a haircut. I'm thinking about getting a haircut tomorrow. What do you think about that? Think I should cut my hair really short? My partner doesn't want me to cut my hair short. I always say I might cut my hair short because my baby grabs my hair all the time. And I say I'm going to cut it short. And he says, please don't. But I'm thinking about it. Okay, so Niall says, I cannot send a message and listen to the live stream simultaneously. Where is another chat room? Okay, maybe you're watching on the phone. I just have separate tabs if you're watching on a computer, Niall. But if any students watching on a phone, then I guess you just have to message in the YouTube chat room and I will try and catch it. I'll try my best. Or you can message me after the live stream directly in the community and I'll answer your questions if you have anything specific. Okay, Manuel, now I'm thinking about how I can get over all sorts of tragedy in the whole world. I think that's supposed to be world. It is absolutely dantesque. I'm not familiar with that word, if that's a real word. And horrific. I can't bear watching breaking news. That should be breaking news. It's always breaking news, never break news, always breaking news, which is news that's just happening, news out now, breaking news. I'm thinking about how we can get over all the tragedy in the world, all the tragedy in the world. That would be the right sentence. Okay. I'm thinking about why didn't you read my comment? Well, I've read it now. Okay, good. Let's move on. So the next one in the list here that I've highlighted is suffer from. I suffer from. So I say, if I think about it hard enough, there are definitely other irrational fears that I suffer from. Now, the other irrational fears that I genuinely suffer from, I suffer from a fear of being trapped. So I don't like lifts. I have an irrational fear of lifts, and I will do everything in my power to avoid getting into a lift. I have an irrational fear of, for the same reason, trains and tube, particularly underground tube trains, because they often just stop in the tunnel and they don't tell you what's going on. And if it's busy, it gets hot. And I just don't like it. I don't like being trapped. I don't like being out of control. So it's an irrational fear. But there's a good reason behind it. I've been stuck in a lift before. I've been stuck on a tube, on a hot tube for a long time. And yeah, it's very unpleasant. And the longer time goes on, I just don't want to be in that situation again. I have an irrational fear, or I used to, I'm much better now, but I have an irrational fear of speaking on the phone. Isn't that crazy? In the past, it was because I was concerned about not being able to communicate properly, because all you have is voice, and I might mishear, or if the line is bad. So the line is the connection. If the line is bad, if it's crackly, you can't hear very well, it's breaking up, then I was always afraid of that miscommunication that might happen, that difficulty in communicating with somebody, and what impression they would have of me in that circumstance. And so I used to be very scared of answering the phone. I'm better now, but I still don't really like talking on the phone if I can help it. I prefer video call. Video call is better, but I still feel a little bit unsure about it. Someone has said trapophobia. It's actually called claustrophobia, isn't it? To be trapped in a tight, small space. I'm claustrophobic. Okay, so is anyone else suffering from anything? What are you suffering from? I keep trying to bring these comments up, but the comments move and I click the wrong one. Someone said, I'm suffering from English mania. Okay, great. That's a good thing to be suffering from, I guess. I also suffer from claustrophobia. I never use a lift. Good. We tend to say I never use the lift, even though is more general, a lift. When we're talking about lifts in general, you tend to use the. I never use the lift. I can't bear using the lift at the supermarket. We have a supermarket that has a parking, a car park above it. And you take a lift down with the trolley. You can take the steps down, but you take the lift down if you have a trolley. And I just hate it. I hate it. I'd rather pull all my heavy shopping bags up the stairs with my baby as well in one arm, heavy shopping bags, rather than take the lift. But that's just me. Hello, teacher Anna. Hello, how are you? It's nice to hear you. Is it possible to hold English Zoom meetings with you? I would love to have the opportunity to talk to an English native speaker like you. So it is available for course students. So if you become a course student, then you are able to join in with that live drop-in session that I do every month. Now, at the moment, because the courses are new and the community is small, anyone who enrolls on a course, even if it's just for a month, If they drop off after a month, they will still have access to the community for a certain period of time. At the moment, it'll probably be at least till the end of the year. So it's quite a good deal. With just a month's access to a course, you'll get 6 months access to the community, which involves exclusive live streams and monthly Zoom sessions, which you can join. The Zoom sessions will always be held at the weekend, so you have more opportunity to actually join them. I won't hold them during the week when people are working. And so that's your opportunity. That's all I can offer, because I have so much to do looking after my course students and my children and everything else I do. So I don't offer private teaching, but that's your opportunity, is to become a student on one of our courses. And we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. I'm very much enjoying getting to know my ELAN students. They're a lovely bunch. Okay, let's move on. So moving on from irrational fears, let's move on to never sleep on an argument. My partner and I may complain about each other a lot, but we rarely argue, something I am incredibly grateful for. When we do lock horns, we argue about how we can better function as a couple rather than big fundamental differences. Since our children arrived, there has been an increase in the frequency of our disagreements due to the additional stress and sleep deprivation. But overall, I am surprised at how well we have coped. It's vital to talk to your partner about anything you are struggling with and listen to them. Open communication often leads to a growing respect and understanding. Oh, here we go. This is a mistake, typo. One rule that we insist on is never sleep on an argument. Do you often argue with your partner, friend, or family member? Can you think of any useful advice for dealing with personal conflict? So, again, this is true. This is a true story. My partner and I, we don't really complain about each other. I only put that section in to use complain about, which is a collocation, to complain about something. What do you complain about? Have you complained about something recently? I've complained about the noise of the rain while I'm trying to live stream. That was something I complained about publicly. What have you recently complained about? But complaining about my partner is not something I actually do very often. In previous relationships with previous boyfriends, I have, not that I've had lots, that sounds like I've had loads. I have complained about a previous boyfriend in the past. In fact, my last boyfriend, I complained about him all the time. And that's because I didn't have much respect for him, because he didn't have much respect for me. And that was very telling in the fact that we complained about each other a lot. So I don't have that with my partner now, which is excellent. We rarely argue, which is something I'm incredibly grateful for. To be grateful for something, that's a collocation. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak to so many of you and help so many of you around the world. I'm grateful for the internet and the technology. I'm grateful for the children that I've been blessed with, the life that I've been blessed with. I'm grateful for my mother, who's very supportive of everything I do. I'm grateful for not arguing with my partner. So, what are you grateful for? Ray, hello. You say, I hope you're feeling better. I had laryngitis a few weeks ago, and yes, it was difficult, but I am feeling much better now. Thank you so much for asking me. I am grateful for having you as my teacher. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you. Good sentence. Very good sentence. I do complaint about why don't I have accent like you. So you don't need do. I complain, take away the T. A complaint is the noun. So your complaint is, I made a complaint. But when we're using it as a verb, we take away the T. I complain about my accent, or I complain about not having an accent like yours. I complain about not having an accent like yours. Okay. Okay, sleep on an argument means think about it, the figurative meaning or actual meaning. To sleep on an argument, obviously you can't physically sleep on an argument because it's not tangible, it's not physical, you can't touch an argument. When we say to sleep on an argument, it means to fall asleep without resolving the argument. So I'm terrible at letting things go. Things bother me for a long time until they're resolved. Some people can deal with conflict and not let it bother them, but for me, I physically react to conflict. So I'm unable to rest and sleep if I've had an argument. At least I can't sleep very well or very easily. So I always try. My partner is better at sleeping on an argument than I am, but I can't sleep, and it makes it worse then. And usually you sit and you stew it over, you mull it over in your mind, and you make it worse. And you just feel awful the next day. So my partner and I have an agreement that we will always try to resolve any conflicts before we go to sleep. We have a word, we resolve whatever's going on, we cuddle, we say sorry, and we go to sleep. And it's much better that way. So never sleep on an argument. Lots of you talking about accents today. That's very interesting. Lots of you complimenting my accent. Thank you very much. I saw somewhere someone mentioned, what kind of accent do I have? My accent is generally a modern RP. You might, if you're very tuned into accents, hear a tiny bit of Northern English coming in, a tiny bit of a Lancastrian accent coming in, a Lancashire accent. But generally, it's a modern RP accent. And it's what I teach in the pronunciation course. So if you're really serious about wanting to acquire the British English accent, if you want to speak like me, then you can. It is possible. You just have to come and join my course and I'll help you do that. Okay. Zara, hi. I do complain about my family most of the time, especially when there is no place or time to be alone. Oh, I know that feeling. Nonetheless, I love them a bunch. I love them a bunch. I love them a bunch. I love them a lot. We say, so a bunch is used. It's not incorrect. It's just unusual. So we'd say thanks a bunch. Thanks a bunch is quite common, but it's usually only used. Thanks a bunch is more sarcastic. So when someone says thanks a bunch to me in a message, I think they're being a bit off. I wonder if they've just misunderstood the use of thanks a bunch. So if I say to you, could you make me a cup of tea, please? And you go into the house and you make yourself a cup of tea and you come back and you bring yourself a cup of tea and not me a cup of tea, I'd say, oh, thanks a bunch. Thanks. So it's usually sarcastic. I love them a bunch. You can say, it's just less common. I love them. I love them loads. I love them so much. I love them a lot. I love them heaps. That's also quite common. Well, commonish. Nishanta, I have arguments about my online classes. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, no, it's not good that you have arguments, but good sentence. Right. Thanks a ton. That's a good one, Ray. Thank you for that. Yeah, thanks a ton. Unfortunately, I did not like to argue with my partners. I was suffering and asking myself, why am I arguing with the person I'm living with? So the result, I broke up the relationship. Good. I mean, it's really good analysis there, isn't it? If you are arguing with someone a lot, you have to ask yourself why, what's going on. Perhaps they're not the right person for me, or perhaps something needs to change in the way we communicate. Good. Okay, let's carry on. So in this, we talked about complain about. We talked about what you're grateful for, what we argue about. An increase in, that's quite quite easy, that one. So have an increase in or a decrease in something. Here I'm talking about the increase in frequency of disagreements. In the UK, we've seen a decrease in the number of COVID cases over the last 7 days. So everyone's quite excited about that. People are feeling perhaps that the vaccination program is responsible for that. There we go, another one. Oh, it's raining so heavily. What have you seen an increase in lately, or a decrease in? There's been an increase in the amount of exercise I've been doing recently, and an increase in workload for me, because we're currently signing off a business English course. We're currently building the C2 English course and preparing the A1 and A2 English courses as well. So there's been a huge increase in my workload. There's been a decrease in my time that's available, because my children are very needy. So what has increased or decreased recently for you? See if I can see anyone's. Oh, bless. Jose's become a member, YouTube member. Lovely. Thank you, Jose. I look forward to seeing you in the Skype chat room. Anna has some of her films on YouTube that hasn't been made in ages, though. Oh, what's that? What's that response to? I didn't see that question. My happy days have decreased grossly since I did my coming out to my parents. So since I came out to my parents. Congratulations, by the way, for coming out. So my happy days. So to use the collocation, you say there's been a decrease in happy days, or there's been a huge decrease in happy days for me since I came out to my parents. I do hope that you see the happy days again. Sometimes it just takes people a little while to get used to changes, things that were unexpected. So fingers crossed they come around soon. Discussions about raining cats and dogs. Yes, it's true that people don't really use raining cats and dogs in common conversational English. The reason that I will include raining cats and dogs in my classes is because it is used in literature, and it's a very well-known idiom. So if you don't know what raining cats and dogs means, then you're going to miss out. When someone's talking about it and mentioning that, you'll be like, what does that mean? So because it's so well known, I cover it so that you know what it is as well, so that you're not out of the loop. But we don't really use it in conversational English, so don't worry about it too much. We do say it's chucking it down, or it's pouring. It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring is quite a famous children's rhyme. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He bumped his head on the back of the bed and couldn't get up in the morning. Okay, so give me some increasing in and decreasing in examples, guys. Okay, I can't see any examples here with the actual collocation, so I'm just going to carry on. We have quite simple, that one anyway. Surprised at. I am surprised at how well we have coped. I'm surprised at. Surprised at. What are you surprised at? I am surprised at how much it's rained. So we tend to use surprised at when we are talking about something a person has done that surprised us. I'm surprised at you, you might say, and usually in a negative. I'm surprised at you. Why didn't you stand up for yourself? I'm surprised at you. You're better than that. Why did you argue with him? I'm surprised at you. I'm very surprised at him. He shouldn't behave that way towards you. So we can use at to direct it to a person. I'm surprised at that person. Or I'm surprised at how something has happened. I'm surprised at how much I care about negative comments. I'm surprised how much I enjoyed the film. That's often the case. Okay. Here's a quick question. What's the difference between posh accent and modern RP? So modern RP is the name of the actual accent. A posh accent is just a general opinion of RP. So to some people, modern RP is just a standard way of talking, not posh at all. To other people, a modern RP is a really posh accent. So to say a posh accent, it's not an accent. Posh is not an accent. It's the consideration. It's someone's opinion of an accent. There'll be people who speak with a Geordie accent or a Scottish accent or an American accent that other people think sound posh. So I might say, oh, he's got a posh Scottish accent, because to me, that sounds posh. So it's just an opinion. Also, is it possible to get a level of fluency where natives don't realize you're not even an English native speaker? It is possible, absolutely. There are people who have achieved that. It's not easy though. If you really want to get to a point where a native can't hear that you're a non-native, then there's a lot of things that have to come into play, not just about your pronunciation, but like cultural references, your use of grammar, of idioms, even like typical native mistakes might come into play. Sometimes my students speak too well to really feel authentic. You know, they don't contract their words. They just speak too well. Their grammar is too good. So there's lots of things that come into play. So really, if you want to get to a point where people aren't noticing that you're not that English isn't your first language, then you really have to be in an English speaking environment all the time. You have to be absorbing much more than just the accent. I hope that helps. Okay. Manuel, my life has increased as the tide rose in the summer afternoon. Each tide rose a bit each day. It has been since then. My carpe diem. My life has increased as the tide. I'm not quite sure what you mean. I know you're being poetic, but I'm not quite sure what you mean with the first sentence. What do you mean your life has increased? Your life has improved, but you're trying to use increased. So you could say the beauty, if you're trying to use the collocation, increased in the... Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what you mean, so it's difficult to make the correction. But thank you for trying. Very poetic. Okay, let's carry on. We didn't have any examples of surprise that I showed. I am surprised at why people are not kind as you. Okay, as kind as. When you're comparing two things, then we use as twice. As kind as brave as green as naive as. Yeah, so twice we use as. I'm surprised at why people are not as kind as you. Okay, good. Any more that I can see? Is it common to say it's bucketing down? Yes, it really depends on what region you're from. For me, bucketing it down is common. It was used a lot when I was growing up in the Manchester area. So I think it's a regional idiom, bucketing it down, but everyone would know what you mean if you use it. Can I see any others? I got surprised at today's masterclass. I am surprised. I am surprised at today's masterclass. Good. And throwing it down. Yeah, throwing it down. Chucking it down, throwing it down, bucketing it down. All right, let's move on. I am surprised at how fast the time goes when I'm doing these sessions. Next, we have talk to. Easy. It's vital to talk to your partner. So don't miss out that one. So don't say it's vital to talk to your partner. It's vital to talk to your partner. Who was the last person you talked to? Tell me. After this, I will talk to my childminder. Who would you like to talk to if you had the opportunity to talk to anybody? Nishanta, I'm surprised at you that how you able to different sounds. So here you'd say, so when you say I'm surprised at you, that's like telling somebody off. I'm surprised at you. Why would you do that? I'm surprised at you. But you're saying I'm surprised at how you can do something. I'm surprised at how you are able to make different sounds or how you are able to sound different. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I accidentally popped that one up, but I will answer that. Could you please make a course on received pronunciation? The course I have, the pronunciation course available on my website, is on RP. It's RP. So it's a very comprehensive course. You've got over 5,000 audios to work with. You have lots of videos, lots and lots and lots of practice, as well as access to the ELAN community, access to exclusive live streams, and the drop-in Zoom call as well. So come and check it out. Okay, let's carry on. So next one is struggling with. What are you struggling with? So I've said here, it's important to talk to your partner about anything you're struggling with. So what situation, what's happening that you are struggling with? I am struggling with lockdown. That's something I said over the winter period. I'm really struggling with lockdown. I was struggling with being a new mum during lockdown. I struggled with the whole pandemic. I struggled with being a mum the second time round much more than I struggled with being a mum the first time round. I struggle with having a messy house. I'm currently fasting. I'm doing intermittent fasting, and that means that I fast for 14 or 16 hours every day. I struggle with fasting. I find it hard. I am struggling with my English writing skills to upgrade to an advanced level. Good. Not good, but good writing there. I'm struggling, double G in the middle of struggling. I'm struggling with learning English. I talked to my, here we go. I talked to my geography teacher about her life. Excellent. Oh dear, I hope this isn't true. I am struggling with anxiety, depression, and a narcissistic personality. So it depends what you mean. Are you the narcissist, or is maybe there's a narcissistic person in your life? So if that's the case, then that's actually correct. I am struggling with anxiety and depression and a narcissistic person. Yeah, sorry, that makes sense. Unless you mean yourself having a narcissistic personality, which is causing you problems. Then sorry for correcting that if it doesn't need correcting. I am struggling with maths. I have been struggling with maths for years. Maths in British English needs an S on the end. I think potentially in American English, they don't always put an S on, but in the British English, maths. Never seen it without an S anyway. Ray, maybe you can confirm that for me. Way too many people are struggling to speak English like a native. Well, it's because they're not taking my course. That's what's going on. I'm struggling with my sales results at work. Oh, making sales calls and doing sales is very difficult. I used to work as a cold caller. Oh, it was the worst job I ever did. I hate selling to people. I hate it. I'm typically British when it comes to selling. I'm just like, you can have it if you like, but if you don't want it, it's okay. I'm not very good at being direct, and you have to be quite confident in being direct with people when you're selling. Yes, thank you, Ray, confirming that for me. USA is math and UK is maths, so I thought as much. I am struggling to achieve fluency. I'm struggling to achieve fluency. Okay. Good. Okay. Diego, hi. I'm struggling to learn to drive. Well, keep at it, because it's one of those skills that just definitely does just need more time behind the wheel. Okay. So we move on from struggling with to listen to, as similar to talk to, the person or the thing. You'd say, I'm listening to my teacher. I'm listening to the lesson. I'm listening to a podcast. So a person or thing you are listening to. What was the last thing you listened to besides this lesson? After listen to, I'm going to move straight on because that's quite an easy one, is leads to or lead to. Lead to a thing or lead to a change. This path leads to my house. Lots of rain will lead to flooding. So an event, a thing, a place, a person. This will lead, this tracker will lead me to my child who's run away. I do actually have a GPS tracker for my son because he does run away. And I need the tracker to lead me to him when I lose him. Often people take courses to lead them to a certain career or a certain job role. What do you hope that your learning will lead you to? Smoking leads to heart problems. Perfect. I'm listening to the voice of reason. I love it. I listened to music this morning. Perfect. I listen to funny songs after dinner. Racism leads people to suffering. Racism leads to suffering. You don't need people to. Racism leads to suffering. Okay. Good. Let's move on. That was quite easy. Insist on. Insist on. I insist on it. What do you insist on? The rule that we insist on is never sleep on an argument. What do you insist on? When someone comes to your house, do you have house rules, like guest house rules, like you must take your shoes off? I insist on it. Usually you might say, oh, no, I guess you just use I insist. If you're offering something to somebody and they say, no, it's fine, like a drink or let me take your coat or let me help you with your bags. And they say, no, it's fine. I don't want to drink. No, don't take my coat. No, don't help me. If you really want to push it, you'd say, I insist. I insist. No, really, I insist. And then if you're typically British, then you'll still say, no, it's fine. I can struggle all by myself. Drinking leads to a sore head the next day. Absolutely it does. Not drinking water though. Okay. Uh, insist on. Yeah, to insist on is not taking no for an answer. I insist on it. We insist. Insist. I've been up for a very long time. We insist on getting freedom. Good. Good. I insist on having freedom for myself. Freedom. Good. Anything else? Oh, I stared at him and listened, or that was what I pretended to do. In reality, I was just picturing him dressing up like an anime girl, whereas he was insisting on arguing. Okay, so the few things that need correcting here. I stared at him and listened, or that was, or at least I was, or at least that's what I was pretending to do. Or at least that's what I was pretending to do. So you just mixed up was and what there. At least that's with an S contraction. At least that's what I was pretending to do. In reality, I was just picturing him dressing up like an anime girl, whereas he was insisting on arguing. Very creative. Good. Okay, here's an interesting question. In my experience, someone reacts very negatively when people tell them they're posh, whereas I would consider it as a compliment. What do you think? So, posh does tend to be used as a slight, as a negative, as a poke. You're posh. Because to be posh in British culture, if you're privileged, if you're born into money, if you're born into a privileged family that can afford education, you live in a nice house, that kind of thing, then it's not celebrated. It's people tend to frown upon wealth, frown upon success, and I feel like this is the biggest difference between British people and American citizens, is that Americans will really, wow, you won, that's amazing, and yeah, you've got a great job and you're making lots of money, that's great for you. They really big up and celebrate success and achievement. And British culture is very much don't talk about your success, don't talk about your wins, because it might make other people feel bad. It's a very strange it's a strange I can't even think of the word. It's just our culture that we don't talk about. We feel like it's boasting. That's the thing. We feel like it's boasting, and so we don't do it. Therefore, if someone has an accent that is very posh, like the Queen or like Boris Johnson, and people are like, oh, he's posh, then it's not always an insult, but it's not a nice thing. It's not usually a positive thing to say someone's posh. It suggests that they don't have a connection to reality, to the struggles of the general man and woman. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So yeah, posh, it's not used as a compliment generally. Okay. My girlfriend always insists on putting on makeup before going out. Perfect. And yes, I used to insist on putting makeup on before I went out, but now I have children. And putting on makeup is I've got makeup on today. Just, I felt my skin was quite bad today, and I thought, I'll try and cover it up. Luckily, because I remembered I had this live stream as well. So Japan insists on holding the Olympic Games. They insisted, because it's happening now, isn't it? So Japan insisted on holding the Olympic Games. Okay, good. Fantastic. Right, let's move on, because Gosh, we've been here for over an hour. Fantastic. Let's go on to the last little bit of writing that I did here, which is about sleep. I suffer from insomnia, often only getting around 4 hours of sleep a night. And because of a lack of sleep, I often oversleep. It's becoming a real problem. My snooze button has made me late for many early morning meetings, which is problematic as many people in my company depend on me. My coworker heard of a doctor who specializes in sleep disorders. I'm interested in what this doctor has to say about my insomnia, so I've booked an appointment. Hopefully, this will lead to a breakthrough. I'm looking forward to a good night's sleep. It's your turn to talk about the quality of your slumber. Can you live on less than 6 hours a night? What do you think? Okay, so this is partly true, not completely. I don't get much sleep. I don't suffer from insomnia. I have suffered with insomnia in the past. I don't suffer from insomnia now. I suffer from being a mum, and that causes sleep deprivation. It's true that I tend to only get around 4 to 6 hours sleep a night. It's difficult, very difficult, especially when you have to work. I rarely book morning meetings because of not knowing how my night is going to pan out, and there's no sleep doctor that I'm going to be talking to. But I do look forward to having a good night's sleep at some point in the future, maybe in like 10 years. Okay, so let's talk about sleep, guys. Manuel, let me just see your comment here. There is a book called Do You Want to Be an Alien? I recommend it. In this, you could understand the British humour, culture, manners, and so on, and you will laugh at the same time. So I'd say this gives you a good understanding of British humour, culture, manners, and so on. And you will laugh at this, and it will make you laugh at the same time. Then thank you. I will have a look at that one. Do you like Lucifer? Do you like Lucifer cast Tom Ellis accent? Does he have a modern RP accent like you? So do you like the Lucifer cast member Tom Ellis's accent? That's quite a tricky one. Does he have a modern RP accent like you? I haven't seen it. I'm not sure what Tom Ellis's accent is. Sorry. Let me see. Often I sleep too late. 2 meaning extreme, 00. Okay, too late, too much, 00. I am looking forward to finishing my latest chapter. Oh, it's always good when you finish a big piece of work, isn't it? I look forward to completing the business course, because the business English course we've been creating for over a year now. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. And I look forward to finishing the C2 course also, which should be in about 2 weeks. I always at 1 or 2 p.m. of the night. Complete that sentence for me. So Nishanta, write that again, complete the sentence. So I always sleep, or I always go to sleep at 1 or 2 p.m. Also, we don't say p.m. for nighttime. If it's past midnight, then it's a.m. So I always go to sleep around 1 or 2 a.m. And then you wouldn't need to say over the night, because the a.m. or p.m. tells us what part of the day we're in. How do you use look forward to? So this has to be followed with an ing. I look forward to doing something. I look forward to going home. I look forward to eating dinner. I look forward to seeing you soon. And that's something we say often. I look forward. Do you know what? Actually, though, sometimes we say, I look forward to it. If you've already been discussing what it is, then you can end the exchange with, I look forward to it. That's very common. So you're talking to your friend, let's go on a night out. Let's go for dinner and drinks and dancing and have a great time. Yeah, let's do it next week. Okay, Monday night? Nah, Friday night. Yeah. 7 o'clock, I'll pick you up. Great. I look forward to it. And what you're looking forward to is going out, dancing, eating, enjoying your friend's company. So you can say I look forward to it, but generally the structure is I look forward to, and then your verb in ing. Yeah. Hope that helps. I look forward to seeing you. I insist on to learning English to speak like a native speaker. I insist on learning, take away the to. I insist on learning English to speak like a native speaker. Very nice. Antonio, I'm from Mexico City. Hello in Mexico City. English is difficult for me. Is difficult for me. It's difficult to me. Difficult for me because I don't have anybody to practice with. I don't have anyone to practice with. What can I do? Well, you can try to find a learning partner on any of these kind of open forums. It's difficult though. It's difficult to find someone the same sort of standard, willing to interact with you one-to-one. You know what I'm going to say? Come and join my community. Come and join one of my courses. Get involved with the ELAN community. My students are very good at interacting with each other. We also have a Telegram group for off-platform interaction. And I know some of the students were arranging Skype calls as well. So that's my offering to you, is the community that I've built to help you guys if it's something that you're really serious about. The courses are really only for people who are very keen, who really do want to take that next step in their English language learning. So if that's you, then come and take a look. Where are we up to? Manuel. Lack of sleep means plenty of problems in your pack. In your pack. So you have a backpack is like a rucksack, a bag that you have on your back, but it's not a pack, it's a backpack. Lack of sleep means plenty of problems in your backpack. It's not a phrase I know. I'm looking for having the opposite troubles. You're gonna have to clarify that one for me, Manuel. Nishant, your UK time is 4 hours, 30 minutes slower than our Indian time. It's nearly 10 o'clock. It's 9:45. Goodness me. Sorry it's so late. I'll have to wrap up soon. Do you get a qualification after completing the course? At the moment, no. We are looking into, we're aligned with the CEFR framework, so the European framework, but we are not affiliated with any examining bodies to get a proper qualification. We are looking into it, and it will be potentially something we offer in the future. Our main target with the courses and the platform is more about building the confidence to actually be able to use the language. So it's more about real life usage. I have certificates for things that I can't do. I have a certificate for advanced diving, and I can't remember anything about diving. If you stuck me in the ocean now with my mouthpiece or my tank on my back, I wouldn't remember anything. Certificates are helpful. I know they can be helpful for getting jobs, getting places at university to prove your level of English. But my first priority is building was building something that actually is useful in terms of daily fluency and accuracy in the language. So not yet. It's on the list of things to do. We'll get there. Okay. I look forward to so remember, I look forward to having verb in the ing form. I look forward to having a cup of coffee. Yeah. I look forward to having a cup of coffee in the mornings, especially while I'm fasting. It kind of takes the edge off. Okay. Is there anything in here that so suffer from, we've covered a lack of sleep, a lack of concentration. What have you had a lack of lately? The lack of consideration for my work. The lack of consideration for my work has made me decide to leave the company, you might say, if you're very unhappy. Anyone else want to try using the lack of flowers this year was surprising. I was surprised at the lack of flowers in my garden. Hospitals in our country lacks of oxygen. Hospitals in our country have a lack of oxygen and facilities. Yes, and unfortunately, there's been many fatalities. Hospitals in our country have a lack of, if they still do, have a lack of. If you're going to take away of, then you can say lacks. This hospital lacks oxygen. This hospital lacks resources. But when you've got the of, take away the s. There's a lack of, and it's raining again. I'm suffering with a lack of, or I'm suffering from a lack of social life. I'm suffering from a lack of social life. Good. All right. What else do we have besides lack of? Or let me just, how do I get rid of this comment on the screen? There we go. Lack of, late for, you'd say what the event or the point in time is. I'm late for my own birthday party. You could even say an event. I'm late for my own birthday party. I'm late for the meeting. I'm late for my call. Depend on. Who depends on you? Who depends on you? My company depends on me. Many people in my company depend on me. I've said here. My children depend on me. My stomach depends on my cooking skills. I'm hungry. Very hungry. Nishanta, I'm very excited to take your pronunciation course next week, Mom. I will become your special student. Well, I very much look forward to having you. I'm proud of my English qualifications, though. Oh, you were talking about your qualifications back here. You said, I have lots of qualifications, half of them being for completing courses that I had little interest in, but you're proud of them. Good. And you should be. Qualifications obviously show that you spent that time and you made that achievement. I just know there's lots of things that I'm good at that I don't have any qualifications in. And there are many things I have qualifications in that I'm not very good at. So I don't think a qualification is always an important thing to have. It really depends on the situation. Okay, so it's very noisy here again. So we have heard of, I think we covered that earlier, did we? Hear of, yeah, we have heard of up there. So we've covered that already. Interested in, what are you interested in? So you could talk about your hobbies, your likes. I'm interested in sports. I'm interested in gymnastics. I'm interested in gardening. I'm interested in food. That's all I'm interested in right now is food. What are you interested in? Tell me. And then we have lead to, again, we've covered that, and look forward to, which we've been covering generally in this conversation. I'm interested in cycling. I'm interested in traveling. I'm interested in learning different languages. Brilliant. I'm interested in traveling. Just be careful with when you're writing I, the pronoun I is capital and then obviously a space, unless you're contracting it. So I apostrophe M would be ein. Okay. I'm interested in reading English stories. I'm interested in sleeping. I can totally relate to that one. I'm interested in sleeping. Again, capital I. Be careful with that. I'm interested in speaking with a British accent. With an accent. Oh, so you speak in a language, but you speak with an accent. Okay, so I speak in English with a British accent. I had my breakthrough when I realized life depends on fate, not on me. Fair enough. That's your view. Fair enough. English literature is a good one, but many of the words in this subject are considered as archaic. I think you're having a discussion with someone there. I would not under any circumstance be interested in walking through a dangerous alley, or that dangerous alley if you're in the middle of a conversation and you know specifically which alley you're talking about. Good. Yes, don't walk through dangerous alleys. Okay. Okay, yeah, you could say speaking in a British accent. Again, my natural go-to would be with. Okay, let's, I'm going to move on and show you what's in the rest of these notes. So these notes are available on the ELAN community for students of the ELAN courses, particularly for the English program courses. So at the moment, we've got B1, B2 and C1 students. So here, I've just made a list for you of all the prepositional phrases that I could think of. There are lots more, but I just threw together some of the most common ones and the ones we've used today. And then I started to give you some examples. So you've got 8 examples here, but then there are lots without examples that I want you to complete. So the important thing for achieving fluency is not to just sit and watch lots of videos and sit and watch other people doing the work. It helps, it's good, it has an impact. But the way you're really going to make a change to impact your fluency is actually doing it yourself, creating assets yourself. So making those notes, creating those example sentences. You can, English students, you can, in the community, you can ask me if you're unsure about your sentences. I'll correct them. I'll check them for you. You can check one another's work as well. We always encourage peer review. But yeah, they're ready for you to download. They're also attached to the email I sent out for my students today as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And I would love to have more of you in the community. Do head over to englishlikeanative.co.uk. We currently have B1, B2 and C1 courses available. The Business English course, which is a humongous course, is going to be available within the next few weeks, as is the C2 course. Now, we always offer an incredible discount when we launch a new course. At the moment, the C1 course is brand new, so there's a 50% discount on that course. which will only be available to the 8th of August. So do head over to the website and make use of that. If you would like to know about the upcoming courses and about the discounts available on those, you'll be the first to hear if you're on our mailing list. You can join the mailing list via the website as well. I have a pronunciation course. So those of you who are loving the British accent, who really want to make a difference and acquire that British accent, then I have a very comprehensive, big pronunciation course with audios, videos, downloadable notes, all the tools that you'll need to be able to make a difference, as well as a pronunciation assessment. So if you're not sure what it is you need to work on, then I've got that service there available to you, where I will give you personal feedback on your pronunciation and tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay? Everything is available on the website. Go and have a look. And otherwise, do you have any other questions? I will stay for another few minutes just to say, hey. Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much for joining me. You're always a great asset to these live sessions with all your useful knowledge and interaction. I really appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you, Manuel, and all my other students that were able to join today. Thank you for interacting in the YouTube chat room. We'll go back to doing this privately next week. So many funny comments. Inappropriate comments. Not the place. Not the place. Someone's looking for hotties. Stunning lad, you definitely are a hottie. Okay. How many students for each batch? So the way the courses work is it's student-led. So most of my students are professionals. They're working in an English-speaking environment, and therefore they need flexibility. So we don't have set class times apart from the live streams, which will then always be available after the live broadcast. And the Zoom drop-in class will always be on a weekend. And it will be for an extended period, so 2 to 3 hours, so that everyone has an opportunity to jump in. But otherwise, the course material is all pre-made. It's created. It's ready for you to do as and when you can. And then we have the community, which you can interact with on your time, and people can interact then on their time. Yeah, so that's how it works. There's no batches as such. It's open and available, ready for you to make the most of when you are ready. How can you find out about our courses? Oh, Christina, we'd love you to join. We are simply over at englishlikeanative.co.uk. Just click on the course you're interested in. You'll find more information there. And you can always just send me a message on the website, and I can answer any specific questions you've got. But yeah, you'd be an asset to us. Thank you for all the comments, guys. You very funny today, very funny. What languages can you speak? Well, I speak English. In the past, have dabbled in. I've dabbled in German, Spanish, Japanese, French. French is a standard language that you learn from primary school. Was there anything else I had to play with? Oh, for a while I was learning Croatian. I was conversational in Croatian at one point. The problem for me is I always overload myself. So I'm always doing far too much and don't have much space in my schedule or in my brain. And languages go rusty very quickly when you're not using them. It's very difficult to learn more than one language at the same time. It's possible, but very difficult. And if you are not using that language for anything and you don't use it for a period of time, then you're going to forget it. It's the same with piano. I've been very good at playing piano at certain times in my life when I've had time to practice. Now I can barely play anything because I haven't done it for such a long time. So fluently, I don't speak any other languages other than English because I don't have an opportunity or need to speak any other languages right now. But in the past and in the future, when my schedule is a little bit less hectic, then it's something I will pick up again. Hi, Anita from Argentina. Hola. You say more fun, not funner. It's more fun, always more fun, or funnier. Yes, if you're comparing, but not funner. Never say funner. Thank you for the virtual hugs. Thank you so much. Lovely. How about a business writing class? Whoa. Okay. The business English class, the business English course is very robust. And there is a lot of writing that goes along with that course. So in all our courses, there's quite a big expectation of you to get involved, for you to create assets. And in the business English course, it's quite exciting. There's a lot of coaching on how to create an excellent CV. And it really is quite in depth, because what we want you to produce are assets from the business course that will actually aid you in your professional life. So when you leave the business course, you're going to have assets and knowledge that will aid you in getting a better job and moving up the ladder in your career. Yeah, it's very exciting. So a business writing course, there will be additional courses coming next year, but for now, the business English course is quite a lot. And at some point, we need to have a break from writing courses and just concentrate on working with the courses we've got. But yeah, please make suggestions. We'll make a note of them. But there's lots of things up here, ideas for next year. Okay, Nishanta, you're feeling sleepy. Go to sleep. Have a lovely sleep. Don't oversleep. Have a good quality sleep. Take care, and thank you for joining us. I should probably say goodbye now and let you all go. Lovely. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I've babbled on for far too long. I should go back to the house now and make dinner because I'm starving. Okay. Please do go to the website if you want to know anything about any of the English courses, the pronunciation course, business courses. Then go over there, join the mailing list, and come and join our courses. You can ask me questions on the website if you're unsure about any of the course material, you need help buying a course or a service, then it's all on the website. Okay. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to say goodbye. Take care. Lots of love. Mwah.